My name is Kivitz Tanya. I'm from the sales department. I work there at the support. Probably you have already heard me on the phone or via support tickets. Yes, that's me. So I will present today's webinar. Our topic is KNX Virtual New Features and Novelties. For those who might have any questions during the webinar, please note them down. You will have the opportunity to drop them in the little chat box at the very end of this session. So don't worry, we will answer them all the best way we can. But please try to relate your questions to this topic. All the other questions that are not concerning this topic, we will not answer them. I'm sorry. If anyway there are some questions that we don't have the time to answer, you can always send them to info@knx.org. Voila, for this webinar, I have invited our dear colleague, Mr. Christoph. It's one of our engineers. He is one of our engineers, not it. He is working also at the KNX Association, and he is in our tools department.
So thank you, Tanya, for this nice introduction. Well, first of all, for those already familiar with KNX Virtual, so here it is. It's of course, if you check the About box, it's the new version, all right. So the version 2.3, which will expire in 1st January next year. And for the rest, it looks so very similar. So we have settings still, of course. So still the same. We have an IP interface and an IP router. So that is actually not really new. So just forget about that. I just confirm with OK. But then we will see other things here. First of all, maybe let's have a view on the devices here. So if you would compare it with 2.2 better said, then you would see that there are indeed a bit more devices here. So that's, but okay, I'm not going to discuss the devices as such, because of course, what also is still work in the background is our new page, the virtual.knx.org. So this is also still on stage 2.2. So with the new release, this will also be updated, of course. So then everything will be explained there accordingly. So everything I will say here, you will also find on this updated website, of course. The release is foreseen, because that's probably one of your questions. Well, at least I hope. That is, the release is foreseen for this week. So it's probably will be on Thursday, so April 30. Okay, so that's just about the version as such. What is really interesting, I think also for you, is the fact that KNX Virtual now also stores the so-called memory images, because we have seen so far with the 2.2 that some data is stored in this C program, this folder here, C program data KNX, so specifically for two specific aspects. That is the settings of the individual addresses. So that was this file that I just selected here in my screen. And then the security related aspects for two devices. So this device here, so D1 and D3. So the certificates, etc. Yeah. But now there's also, let's say, the entire configuration regarding objects and group addresses is now also stored. So that means that you don't have to restart commissioning the devices each time you start up KNX Virtual. So that is actually not the case anymore. I think that's a nice improvement. Furthermore, also something practical is improved. That is actually if you want to commission a device, and certainly when you want to do that for the first time, you'll always have that problem of, okay, which is the device I need to program here? Well, just to illustrate this in a very simple way. So imagine that you need to commission here in this example clicks. So then it's already indicated in between brackets which device this is. So in this case, D4, and then it's of course very easy to find it. It's right here. Or if it's D7, same principle, of course. You just look up D7 and that's it. And again, of course, D0, D1, and all these details will be explained on virtual.knx.org. So the website that I just have shown to you. Okay, now a real novelty is when we have a look at the views. That is, well, we know already the base view, the switching plus, etc. Now there are two additional views that that are added here. That's the room 2124 and HVAC plus. So what is the room 2124? Well, that's this here. So what we have done is we have set up actually a constellation where KNX Virtual actually simulates 4 similar rooms. So typically the use case in hotel rooms or something, of course only 4 of them, but nevertheless it's good enough to explain that principle. Because what happens here in the background is that each room has of course its own switch or its own push buttons, maybe better said. And of course, for the webinar here, I already have configured them in order to save time. So I have set up a few functions in each room, and of course I can control these functions with this button. So example given, I have here a toggle function. So with that, I can control the lamps in each room. So you see what's happening on my screen. So that was for room 21. If I want to do the same for room 23, I also, of course, can do that. So what is basically the point here? That is that I have different actuators, and these actuators, they have channels, and there's a specific set of channels that is actually linked to a specific room. And that as such is also a skill that one actually needs in order to set up a KNX installation. So therefore, we have tried to simulate that situation as well. There's not only switching, there's also dimming. And here you can see also another improvement. That is, whenever there's a dimming function, we indicate now in the lamp the percentage. So if we would dim down, you would see that the percentage is indeed going down. Of course, this is similar for other rooms. So here, room 23 example given. Of course, it's also the same principle. The blinds, they are also still there, of course. So here, let's take an example, room 22 maybe. So let's control the blind there. So also that function, of course, still works. But here again, the specific context is that you need to operate it per room individually. Okay, so that is actually a first improvement, the first concept that we have added to it. To these rooms, we also have added the HVAC functionality. So each room has also its own HVAC control. And that's what we can see here in the room temperature indicated. So also in the product called room controls. So that's the name that we made up, that we came up with for describing these push buttons. And they also you also have there the possibility to control the room temperature. You don't need to, but if you want, you can. So example given, if we have a look at, let's take room 22 here. So what we can do here is we can ask for a specific room setting. Now, what we see the situation here is that we actually want the comfort, let's say the comfort mode, and we want 22. So you would be able to change the temperature by just clicking this button. So 21, 22, 23. And you can change the mode, of course. You can go to standby or to comfort by just clicking the button. But for some reason, this is not working out. And what we can see here also in this control is that indeed this temperature cannot be achieved, because it even indicates that the set point, and that's what this SP means, set point is set to 8 degrees Celsius. Why is that? Well, that is because I have simulated also here, we have simulated that there is a window contact and a presence detector also in each room. So now the window contact tells me that it is open. So its value is now 0, and that means that window is open. So that means if I would close the window by putting this to 1, then the situation will change, at least for room 22. This will take a while, so things are going on in the background. If we would start the monitor in ETS, we would even see what's going on. But after a while, we will see that this set point will change. This now just happened. You maybe have not seen it happening, but it happened, all right. So the set point is now for this room 18 degrees Celsius, because I just closed the window. Now I still don't achieve the temperature that I want to reach, and that is because I'm not in the room, because this presence detector is not triggered. So if I would trigger it by clicking it, so I see an orange color, which means, okay, something is triggered here. And then again, it will take a while. And then we will see that indeed, the temperature, the set point will be set to 22. So that means it just takes a while, and there it is. So all by all, it means that we just need to make sure that the conditions in the room are correct, and then we can indeed achieve the temperature that we want. Of course, if we now want a higher temperature, then of course the set point will be corrected accordingly. When the temperature that we ask doesn't correspond with what we get, then this is indicated in the cyan color. So after a while, we will indeed see that this temperature will go to 23, and there it is. At least the set point, because then after all, we still need to check whether indeed the temperature in the room is also following, and this seems to be the case. So now it's 22. It will increase to 23 in a minute now, and there it is. And this is constantly going on. So I think that is enough to say about the novelties that are introduced in this new version. From next week onwards, I will, of course, or we will go into that again, and then we will where we explain how to really set it up. So for now, this was only the preview. So if you come back next week, we will show you how this can be achieved in ETS. So for now, I want to thank you for your attention, and I'm going to give the word back to my colleague, Tanya.
Thank you, dear Christoph, for this nice presentation. I think it's always interesting. especially for me. Well, before we go to the Q&A session, let me just remind you that we have covered already a whole series of webinars about KNX Virtual. Probably you've all seen them. If you did not see them, you can always go back on our webinar page. Let me just show you where to find them. You see our knx.org page. If you go here on top, you click on webinars, then you scroll down, and here webinar recording, you can click here on this link, and then you can always see the past recordings that have already taken place. So the next recording concerning KNX Virtual Novelties and and new features is on 5th of May, so that is next week. So as I said, 5th of May is the second session of new features and novelties, and you can find the list of our recordings on our internet page. You can also always check our YouTube channel, KNX Association, where you can see really a lot of webinars and other movies that are really interesting for you. So next thing, we have a whole training, a complete training plan for professionals that are interested in KNX. If you go on the website start.knx.org, you can read about how to get an expert in 5 steps. So it's from actually learning from the eCampus, then you have how to configure your smart home with virtual, KNX Virtual. Then you have the extend knowledges with the webinars. After that, you can become a certified KNX partner via the certified courses, and you have also the literature, so the different books that you can buy. This is the whole training plan that you can check for your guidance at start.knx.org. Now it's time for the Q&A session.
So I have here this question, whether it's possible to tilt the blind shutter. Well, in this version, not yet. Yes, but it's on my it's on the list. Yeah, it's on the list on the wish list, amongst others. I'm not going to tell you what the rest of the things are. Otherwise, I don't have a surprise. We don't have a surprise for next time. But it's on the list. So that you not only have the shutters, yes, indeed, now with our shutters, but that we also have indeed blinds where you can tilt them. Other questions: can we mix real devices with KNX Virtual? This is someone that doesn't know that feature yet, because that's already in this version, in the 2.2. So definitely we have it also in the 2.3. So that's yes, we have that. And can we use KNX Insight with KNX Virtual? Of course. Yes, there's also even a specific video for that that you can find on YouTube. So where we specifically focused on that specific aspect. So how to so what we did in that video is we started actually a project with ETS Professional, and then we transferred it into KNX ETS Insight. So yes, that's also a yes. Why whether we will have a free KNX Virtual after this one has expired? Of course, there will always be a free version of KNX Virtual. Why we make it expire? That is just company policy, because we want to have control over it, not to have control over you, but we just want to make sure that we don't mix up versions. That's the only reason why we do that, because there's not only KNX Virtual as such, but there's also ETS, and there's also the products that we use. So we don't want problems because of versions that are not matching together. So that's why we make these versions expire. It's free software anyway, so we can do that. Yeah. For the dimming, that's the next question. For the dimming, we can make relative and absolute dimming. Yes, of course. Yes, that is already that is a feature that's already since some versions in there. So definitely we can do that. Yes.
There's
Yes.
another question that I would like to read out loudly. Will we be able to use the KNX Virtual in the future at training centers, for example, at online training for the theoretical part? I think it's an interesting question.
Well, I had that question indeed before, and the point is that yes, indeed, we are working towards that because the current version is still missing some aspects, like amongst others, a line coupler, and we are working on that. Of course, that doesn't take away the other conditions, because I have heard that you cannot do it online. You know, the example given, if you want to do the exam with that with KNX Virtual, that is not allowed. You cannot do that online because there needs to be someone in the room, so physically in the room, not virtual, but really physically, when the students are taking the exam. But as such, the software could, if I'm not mistaken, indeed could be used. Yeah. Again, not this version, but a future version, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where
Other
to
thing?
download the
Yeah.
version 2.3? You have to buy it. Every time the version gets a new version, you have to buy it once again, even though it costs nothing. You have to go through the order procedure. Just go back into your shop, go in the software. It's on the second page of the softwares, I think. Click on it, go through the order procedure, and at the end you will see it in your product page. So every time there's a new virtual, you have to order it again. It will not update automatically in your product page. Can we use the previous version although we already have the new version?
Temporarily, yes. So as long as you have the expiration date, you can of course use it. So of course, yes, you can. Yeah, but we don't recommend that.
Okay. And then somebody would like to know the present version is already the 2.3, is that correct?
So currently, still this week. So this is in this very week. It's still the version 2.2. Yeah, but also in this very week, we will release the version 2.3, and that's the preview I just have shown you. That is the version 2.3. Yes.
When is possible to simulate the application from a real component? So is this possible?
Yeah, that is also, you know, that is of course the ultimate step. And if we ever would reach that, I don't know, but it's definitely an ambition. But okay, not feasible right now. Not right now, and not within the, let's say, the first years. We have to be reasonable in this. But of course, we want that as well. Yeah.
So another one is there a tutorial on wiring a KNX system just for visuals?
No, we don't have that. No, because it's also indeed we can explain a lot of things, and we can train, we can help training, we can with KNX Virtual again. We also increased there that kind of service. Let me call it like that. But the wiring, of course, that's something really physical, and for that we really recommend to go to a training center. I mean, that's why we need them, that's why we have them. We can just increase the level of the KNX knowledge and the KNX protocol as such, but the actual practice, the wiring, the fault finding also, and all these things, no, please, that should be kept for our training centers.